Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto is leading his new cabinet on an unconventional three-day military retreat, hoping to bring together the 100 members of a new government in the early days of his presidency. They have gathered at the Indonesian Military Academy in the mountainous region of Magelang in central Java. Cabinet members dressed in camouflage uniforms and combat boots were seen taking part in morning exercises and military drills in the parade square. They'll also be attending briefings on current issues. The retreat aims to build discipline and teamwork. Prabowo Subianto was sworn in as the 8th president last Sunday. The 73-year-old chaired his first cabinet meeting earlier this week, emphasizing the need for efficiency, unity, and the need to cut down on unnecessary costs. And for more, Randy Mulyanto joins us live from Jakarta. Randy, we just saw pictures there of Mr. Prabowo and his cabinet members beginning their term with this unusual three-day military-style retreat. Apart from what we've just said, what more can you tell us about this unconventional start to his presidency?
Wait, so that's right. So the first day of the retreat started at about 8 a.m. Western Indonesia time or 9 a.m. Singapore time. It began with the president giving his directives to his coordinating ministers and deputy ministers, but not just the ministers who are attending the retreat throughout the weekend. There are also other officials like presidential special staff, presidential advisors, as well as the government agency heads. And then the morning session continued on until the afternoon when, these participants had a chance to have a lunch break and a Friday prayer. And then it continued with a session on corruption prevention. Basically the National Police, as well as a few other government bodies, also conducted the session until then. And also the presidential aides who participated in the retreat were also briefed, basically learn a few things, from on the budget planning to national development and bureaucracy planning. So basically things have been going on throughout the day, and it ended a few hours ago.
Randy, obviously, visually, this is an interesting start, and we would pay attention to Mr. Prabowo's presidency. But apart from the rallying of team spirit, what would such an exercise hope to achieve?
That's right, Wei. So to quote basically what the presidential communications chief, Mr. Hassan Nasbi, he said that the retreat was not about militarism, it's about togetherness. Basically, hopefully that this retreat could help solidify the unity of the cabinet, strengthening the teamwork that you mentioned as well. But I think what's also interesting is the corruption prevention part. There was a dedicated session to that basically throughout today's retreat, the first day of the retreat. I think obviously it's obvious that Mr. Prabowo would not like to see any corruption cases, affecting his cabinet, his ministers and other officials. Because if we look back what his predecessor, Mr. Jokowi, went through, his administration basically saw some of his ministers were sentenced to jail for corruption charges and basically were implicated in corruption cases. So I don't think Mr. Prabowo would like to see that happening. But also aside from that, there's also the teamwork aspect. And for basically Mr. Prabowo with the military background, he's not a stranger to military academies, so I think that's basically how he wants to, strengthen his teamwork with the cabinet as well. And I think the retreat would allow better coordination in this sense. And we have to look back again that Mr. Prabowo's cabinet size is bigger than Mr. Jokowi's. So obviously this whole three-day event could basically help these participants to get to know each other. And of course, aside from the team activities, bonding activities, as well as time for these participants to chat and mingle with each other.
Oh, thanks for that. Randy Mulyanto in Jakarta looking at this retreat being held by the new president to rally the largest cabinet actually in decades in Indonesia.